Dragon's Dogma 2 just released its second trailer, posting even more gameplay than the first. In this trailer, we get a pretty good look at 4 basic classes and 2 advanced classes, one of which is even a new class entirely. We also get a look at the world of Dragon's Dogma 2 and what new features will be coming this time around. If you've never heard of Dragon's Dogma, this was a game released in 2012, largely overshadowed by Skyrim. The first game boasted a bit of a smaller world size and a bit of an empty quest line, but the combat was absolutely stellar. So stellar, in fact, that the game has a dedicated community to this day, and I'd like to count myself among them. So of course, I am so excited to be covering Dragon's Dogma 2 and this gameplay showcase. Let's dive right into it. First, we gotta talk about our man Hideaki Itsuno, the creator of the best fantasy combat system that I've ever played. Just look at this handsome man. He knows what's cooking. We'll let him get through his intro section and then break down the larger bits of the video.
At the heart of the gameplay experience. The action gameplay is designed to challenge your creativity, and although this is a single-player adventure, AI-controlled companions will accompany you throughout the experience. Today, I'd like to show you a little of what you can expect from the world of Dragon's Dogma 2 with this new gameplay footage. In Dragon's Dogma 2, up to 3 AI-controlled beings called pawns can join you on your adventures.
So they start off with the pawn system immediately right out the gate, and this system was actually one of the best of its time. You can recruit up to 3 AI-controlled characters, and for your main pawn, you can actually create them with a character creator. The other 2 pawns you would then need to recruit from other players playing the game, but if you were playing offline, the game would randomly generate some for you. Now in Dragon's Dogma 1, pawns could only be monocolor classes, meaning they could be mages, they could be fighters, they could be archers, but they couldn't be anything like Mystic Knight or Magic Archer or any of these more advanced classes that we'll see later. So it'll be interesting to see if they change up the formula there. I hope that they do, but it might make parties a bit overcomplicated and a bit overpowered. But still, it'll be interesting to see if they change that. I think the main thing that Dragon's Dogma 1 players will remember about the pawns is that they call out the same lines all the time, such as wolves hunt in packs.
Wolves hunt in packs.
Or kill it with fire, or things along those lines. Honestly, it would be pretty funny to see that return because the community at large has basically seen that as a more endearing thing over time. Let's continue on with the trailer.
Players can choose from 4 starting vocations that determine how they will play.
So with these basic classes, Thief is actually brand new, and it's going to follow a pattern of something that I've noticed throughout the trailer. It seems to closely follow Strider, which was a class in Dragon's Dogma 1. See, with each class, you could have a primary and a secondary weapon. In the Strider's case, it was these dual daggers and a bow. In Dragon's Dogma 2, they seem to have separated out these 2 things, so maybe if you have a melee weapon, you won't be able to carry a ranged weapon at the same time. The disadvantage here is that if you're a melee character, you won't have any way to deal range damage to any flying enemies. However, the advantage here is that you have twice as many skill slots to then put into that melee weapon, so this could actually open up quite a few number of combos that you could do with your team. So right off the bat, this is going to emphasize that you create your party as balanced as possible to cover all options whenever you're adventuring.
Of course, you will be able to change your vocation at any time by visiting vocation guilds. For now, let's look at the fighter vocation.
So this image right here, I just want to point out the lower left. It looks like we have a mace and a bit of a bigger shield. In Dragon's Dogma 1, there was a vocation called Mystic Knight, which was the only class that could wield maces and magic shields. So this says to me we might not get a standalone Mystic Knight vocation, but it looks like some of their skills and weapons will be sort of spread out to other vocations.
Wielding a one-handed sword and shield, the fighter excels in melee combat.
The beautiful line frames are still here. I love it.
As a fighter, you can cut down enemies with a sword and protect yourself and your party using your shield.
So we have a bit of a roll and a dash. I like it. This already looks much more fast-paced than Dragon's Dogma 1, just right off the cuff.
We can see some harpies in the distance. As an archer, you'll be better suited to take down enemies above
So right
you.
away, the first thing I notice about the archer class is that there seems to be some sort of auto-aim going on here. It's hard to pinpoint exactly if this is just from the trailer footage or if it's from the player's point of view, but I would imagine there's some sort of locking on, as with Fighter earlier, I noticed that he was rotating around enemies in such a way where it looked like he was kind of locked on, but nothing was visible on the screen. Of course, with flying enemies, they are a pain to deal with if you're a melee character, so it's very important to have ranged characters in your team. And there in the back, it looks like we have the mage vocation actually floating and dealing damage at the same time, which is something you could not do in Dragon's Dogma 1.
The monsters of Dragon's Dogma 2 behave organically in the world around them, and will even react to players by using their wits against you. Next, I would like to show you the mage in action.
Before the mage section starts, I just want to preface this for any new people. The mage and the sorcerer, for that matter, have some of the most powerful attacks in Dragon's Dogma. I think what's going to throw off most people is that this is sort of a high-risk, high-reward playstyle, and the casting times for these spells are very long, but the effect that you get is very, very powerful.
Magic is, the longer the incantation will take.
For example, if you don't think that this lightning strike ability is very impressive, just look at this next clip from Dragon's Dogma 1.
In addition to the pawns you adventure with, you will occasionally act with other inhabitants of the world.
What's this? We're trapped!
It looks like the ambush system is going to be a lot more unpredictable this time around, which is cool.
Lastly, let's take a look at the thief.
And of course they're going to make the thief look like the most badass, amazing vocation you could pick, which is honestly correct. If you're an Attack on Titan fan like I am, you'll probably pick this as your Levi build. And this move right here, I don't believe is the same thing as Skull Splitter. It looks like it's more floaty and is a different kind of skill. The fact that there's an ability like Swift Step in the game now is going to make Thief so much more fun to play, I can already tell. And of course we have the classic clinging to enemies, which was the thing that got me into Dragon's Dogma 1 at first. This little mechanic is pretty cool. You can cling on to pretty much anything, and you can do a little stabby stab once you're attached.
Fighting head-on is always...
Some small improvements to throwable items here. It looks like they actually give you an arc so you can tell where you're going to throw it as opposed to the previous title. And in this specific scene, I can't really tell if it's a cutscene. It does look scripted though. Not really sure how prevalent environment destruction is going to be in this way to defeat enemies, but it is cool nonetheless. The fact that this encounter right here makes you cross the chasm with a troll bridge is pretty freaking cool. Sorry, not troll, I meant Cyclops.
Two nations prosper in the world of Dragon's Dogma 2. Vermund, the human kingdom, and Batal, the land of Beastren.
So first thing I want to get out of the way is that it looks like this is not Grand Soren. This is two different settings here. We have Vermin and we have Batal. Vermin, of course, is the human kingdom, and the Beastren race is that cat-like one that we saw earlier. And it looks like the Arisen rule Vermin, which honestly is not a new thing, but it's interesting that it says that they've ruled for generations, so that's going to be interesting as part of a quest line. I don't think it needs to be said how cool this Harpy flight system is.
For exploration. In contrast, Batal is a rugged canyon nation with a city built on the site of ancient ruins. It is home to the Beastren and their unique culture. The nation of Batal offers players a different experience from the human kingdom, with diverse environments to explore and monsters to encounter.
So after that little bit of trailer, it sounds to me like the player character is going to get to choose which region to start in. Now, I don't know how accurate that statement will be, but it would be a pretty cool concept to give you the option to choose whether or not you want to start in Vermin or start in Batal as a member of Beastren or a member of the Human Kingdom. Now, there was no Beastren in Dragon's Dogma 1, so obviously that wasn't a choice, but it is pretty common to get different origin stories nowadays in games, so it wouldn't be out of the question. I'm very interested to see if they follow up with that. At the very least, it's something that can be used to increase the replayability of games, which I know is a big factor in whether or not someone's going to buy it.
In your adventures, you might come across people who call out to you.
Oh, have you some business with the apothecary, sir?
I swear if this turns into a Skyrim-style dialogue system where you just walk past people who try to talk to you all the time, it's not going to be great. But if they actually have something like a quest line to follow, that'll be nice.
If I might be so bold as to impose upon you again, would you be willing to accompany me to the cenotaph and safeguard me from harm?
Pawns with knowledge of a quest may be able to guide you to the right location, but it is up to the player to decide whether to follow them or not.
So to expand on this little tidbit, pawns actually will gain knowledge based on how the player chooses to use them or what they've already experienced. So like the trailer said, they can gain quest knowledge, but they can also gain knowledge on how to take down monsters once you train with them enough. So if you fight a lot of Cyclopses and you fight a lot of Chimeras, they're going to know how to take them down a bit more easily. So whenever other players rent them out on their own adventures, they'll actually be better at fighting those particular monster types, which is really cool. That was back in 2012 with the more rudimentary AI, and I can't wait to see how they improve it this time around.
Pawns support you throughout your adventures and may come to your aid when you are in trouble.
Good lord, that is one strong pawn.
To complete your quests, you can ride ox carts to travel to major locations. But be aware...
Alright, listen, I have bad experiences with ogres from the very first game, so I do not need them ambushing me like this. On another note, it is cool that we're getting a carriage system, though.
During the ride, you can choose to close your eyes to quickly arrive at your destination. Time is ever passing, even while riding an ox cart, and the environment around the player constantly changes. Nighttime is especially dangerous.
Alright, nighttime is freaking brutal in Dragon's Dogma, no matter what iteration you're playing it. It gets really dark, really fast, you can't see anything in front of you unless you have a lantern, and those eyes on each monster glow like the freaking demons of hell. Yes, there are unique enemies, but you never want to be caught outside without a lantern. By the way, skeletons are no joke in Dragon's Dogma. They will freaking wreck you. And this spell right here looks like it's brand new. It's some kind of armor spell. I've never seen it before. And it doesn't look like the orb actually dissipates whenever they take a hit. So this might actually be a pretty cool little defensive buff.
If you have a camping kit, you can find a campsite to spend the night and recover your health.
Also, camping seems fun.
Good evening, Arisen.
Oh, they actually do have normal voices.
'Tis the honor of my life to share your journey, Arisen.
To wrap up, I'd like to introduce some advanced vocations that become available as you progress in the story.
Two things here. Mystic Spearhand looks like it's more of a telekinetic style class and is brand new to Dragon's Dogma 2. Also, Magic Archer was heavily overpowered in Dragon's Dogma 1, so it'll be interesting to see if they make any changes.
The Mystic Spearhand combines magic attacks and weapon-based physical attacks. A good all-rounder, they use their dual spear.
Excuse me, I believe the
range
correct weapon type is Twin Blade. Also, if you like Psychokinetic Beyblade, I guess this one's for you. Ooh, we have a blink. And we can throw dead bodies!
The Magic Archer is a vocation that further specializes in long-range attacks with magical arrows. On top of healing and providing support to your allies...
Okay, so it looks like Magic Archer is going to be morphed to more of a support style class, which is honestly kind of cool because Mage in the first game was the only real supportive class, but you can see how it can kind of get out of hand with these auto-aiming spells. Also at the end here, it looks like we have Holy Furor, which was previously on the Mystic Knight class, which goes to show it looks like they're spreading those skills out to other ones.
And of course, there are other unique vocations you can look forward to. We have a playable version of Dragon's Dogma 2 at the Tokyo Game Show Capcom booth. Depending on the choices they make, each player can experience very different playthroughs. We're very much looking forward to the impressions of those who get a chance to play. Dragon's Dogma 2 is being developed for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and Steam. Please stay tuned for more information. Thank you.
And here at the end, I just want to point out we're flying on a Griffin and we have Ricochet Shot back, which was insane in Third Black Isle. And of course, the return of the big boy, Grigori. Alright, that's pretty much the end of the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And it would take a game like Dragon's Dogma 2 to bring me out of the YouTube retirement. And with that, see you guys later. Bye-bye.